relocate to another country, the first thing that you want to think about is which bank is it that you're going to open, right? What bank accounts do you need? But before you can think about what bank accounts you need, you must know three banks that you should try to avoid at all costs if possible. So if you're just here to know the three banks which a Jamaican living in America should know and should seek to avoid, then these are the three. We'll explain them as we move forward. So the first bank that you want to try to stay away from, if you can, is Bank of America. The second bank is Wells Fargo. And the third bank is anything that looks like a bank but is not really truly a bank that's serving your best interest. So this is maybe subjective based on my observation, based on my interaction with these entities. But as subjective as these banks may be, why I have put them on the list of some of the worst banks to bank with, you can come to your own conclusion when you read the reports of the misappropriation of funds and the failure of executing fiduciary duty as a banking institution to come to your own conclusion. So, let me just explain to you why I would try to stay away from these banks. A bank should be there with your best interests as their number one priority. Any bank that is willing to open accounts in your name, willing to create fictitious information about you, distribute information without your permission or your consent to different advertisers or different entities is a bank that is dealing in questionable behavior. Banks which are positioned to disenfranchise you from achieving your financial goal, your financial objective, and costing you that American dream that you may desire or the American reality that you are actually experiencing. Banks that will put you in a worse situation than you are currently in is not a institution that you should seek to invest yourself or your time into, because that there is setting yourself up for failure. So the first bank that we want to talk about is Bank of America. We have seen tons of story in which persons from Bank of America have been caught with their hands in the cookie jar. We have seen tons of stories in which Bank of America has been cornered in lawsuits. We have seen tons of stories in which money goes missing from persons' accounts in Bank of America. One of the main reasons why I avoid this bank at all costs is because of a family situation that happened to us. So, my aunt, a regular person working, cleaning people's feces in America, she amassed about $6 million, right? She's on her vacation now in Jamaica, and this is back in time. We're going, and she checks her bank account while she was there in Jamaica, only to notice that the $6 million turned to $6,000. So, when you say this, you're just thinking that, hey, maybe you made a mistake, maybe something is, maybe it's a computer glitch. So you just allow some times to pass, and then you check your account again. When she checked it, it's the same. 6 million is now $6,000. She asked her husband. Her husband has no idea what does that mean, and then they started to do some investigation. She tried to reach out to her bank. Her bank was giving her the runaround. This is Bank of America that she's banking with, and you imagine how much feces this lady had to clean in order to amass that $6 million in her bank account, and to be on vacation in Jamaica and checking your bank account and then realizing that the bank that you place all those resources in has only $6,000 to show for that $6 million worth of work that you have done. So the long and short of the story is that she had to leave Jamaica and go back to America prematurely just to get this situation resolved. And by that time, she would have sold her house. She would have uh, small or make smaller her living accommodations that she had in the States, and she had to spend over 3 months just trying to resolve, and spending those 3 months in America was costing her. At the end of the day, she was giving back the money which the bank mysteriously took for 3 months, couldn't give an account for how it disappeared or what caused it to disappear. And then, guess what? The money just magically reappeared. But she was not compensated for the time that she lost, for the headaches that she had to go through. She only got back what they had stolen from her. So that is just a personal experience that we have had with the Bank of America as a family. And for that reason, I stay away from Bank of America as much as possible. Because if that could have happened to my aunt who is hardworking, can you imagine what can happen to me? Yes. So I just stay away from that bank. The other bank that I stay away from. Oh, and before we go any further, Bank of America has a system in place as well that they will blacklist you and blacklist your family members if they can find an association between you and different persons from opening bank accounts. So even if you have all the prerequisite documents, they can still deny you the ability to open a bank account based on subjective clause that they create in the interest, their interest of protecting their resources. But they can blacklist you. I just want you to bear that in mind. The next bank that I want us to rush into very quickly is Wells Fargo. Just speaking about Wells Fargo causes my heart to boil. If you are an individual with high melanin content, there is a high probability that interacting with this entity, it's not the person that you're interacting with, even if it happens in a particular branch, but this banking system is built on discriminatory practices in which persons who are of a high melanic content are denied access to funds they have in their accounts. Yes, so you will have, let's say you have 10,000 in your account, you're trying to withdraw your 10,000, you can't get your money. You try to lodge money in your account, they call the police on you. You try to do certain transaction which they may think that you are not in a position to do it, and then you are in a problem or in a situation with the law. So this bank is very discriminatory, and this is just not my word. This is what history has revealed. And yes, we know that this bank has been tied to slave trade, and it's still all assets in companies which have deep root ties in slavery. So this is one of the banks that I truly would advise you, if you don't have to bank with them, the rates that they give you are not the most favorable either. So if you can do better, I think that you should seek out a better banking alternative. The other bank that I want you to avoid is any bank that appears to be a bank, that says that it is a bank, and that presents itself to be a bank, but when you do your due diligence, you realize that the reviews are not in alignment with the kind of financial institution that you want to put your money in. So anything that looks like a bank, sounds like a bank, produce money like a bank, but is not really acting as a bank, or maybe is a shadow of a bank, then you want to be very careful. So I'm very careful as to how I present this information, because if you know what I'm talking about, you already know. So there are certain entities that you just have to just keep your money out of. And if you're a Jamaican, if you're a person from the Caribbean, you already know exactly what I am talking about. So now that we have it, the three banks that you should avoid at all costs as an immigrant or as a person who has high melanin content: Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and any bank that looks like a bank that is not operating as a bank. See you on the next time when we will discuss three banks that you can put your money in, and rest assured that you will be their priority, even if but for a season. Until next time.